Good day. It's been a while since I did a video. It's kind of been a weird year for me, but got wind that the old Portage la Prairie Mall is finally officially closing. This thing was built in 1979. There goes the truck. Built in 1979, and when I was a kid, this place was packed. And this is kind of the place to go. So kind of a notable part of the history of Portage here as far as shopping and life in the 80s and 90s. And I just thought I'd go through this whole mall while the doors are still open. There's still a few vendors I think are still operating. We're going to see what's there, and I'll just sort of walk through what used to be. No one knows what's going to happen with this place. I don't know if they're going to tear it down. I think it's for sale. But with the next few days, this is, as of the recording of this is the end of 2024. Just a few days left to go in the year. And they're closing this by the 31st. This building in here, this used to be the Safeway. So this is a great big grocery store on this end. It was kind of one of the anchors. And when I was a kid, right on the corner here, this was Hans Andersen Toy Store. So my mom would drop us, she would come in for groceries, come into town. Us kids would head off down the mall, hit up the toy store, hit up some other places. In the corner there with those round windows on the outside, that was actually a Smitty's restaurant when I was around. That's why I kind of knew it as. But here's kind of the mall. We'll just take a walk down, and there ain't much left in here. I was trying to remember where everything was. There's, I think this one here used to be like a card store, like Carlton Cards, I think. And this one always was a real estate agent with an insurance broker. They sort of shared the space. And actually, I worked at a few different places. And that insurance broker was one of the places. I wouldn't work full-time at the mall office here, but I would, you know, some weekends you'd work here instead of the downtown office. But yeah, this place used to be right full. Like it's pretty much abandoned now, but yeah, Smitty's restaurant and lounge was on this end. I believe this was a hairdresser's at one time. And I think this one here used to be a bank. I think this was Scotiabank in here. It's kind of looking back the way I just came in, so that would be Safeway at that far end of the mall. And then down here, somewhere in one of those stores right beside the insurance broker or real estate agent, there was a place called, what was it? It was, it sold a bunch of knickknacks, kind of like Hot Topics or something like that. But I forget what was it called, like Treasure Island or something like that. It's either Treasure Island or San Francisco. San Francisco Gifts was over there. And so that was another place we'd sort of hit up and see what they had. Just posters and kind of weird, you know, those pin boards, you put your hand in the pin, it makes the shape of your hand, that kind of weird stuff they had in there. And they had some clothing stores too. And I think the name of the jewelry place changed names or ownership a few times. But that corner, as far as I ever remembered, was always a jewelry store of some sort. And across the way, this spot here was a few different things. The last people that were in here was MPI. They actually were renovating their office in Portage, and they moved in here temporarily to do all the licensing and whatnot. But before that, I think it was a dollar store. Before that, I forget what it was, but I think somewhere along here, there used to be a Style Right, which is kind of a variety store, but I don't think it was there. I think it was further down. But anyways, this sort of became a sort of, it was a bigger space. It kind of changed hands about 7 times in my lifetime that I can recall. But yeah, this place used to be just full. Like when I was in high school, it was full. Not a single store empty. This is the food court area here. This was a Robin's Donuts when I knew the place in its prime. And this was always it was called a Fuzzy Orange. It was like a little independent thing. They did, you know, hot dogs and burgers. I don't know if they did burgers. They did hot dogs and fries and stuff like that. But they had like kind of like an Orange Julius kind of a deal. They did like orange drinks and stuff like that, slushy kind of things. This was the Suzy Share. I said that wrong. Suzy Share? I don't know. I don't wear women's clothes. That's what that was. This was the Bentley's later on, but it started off as something very different. I think all these, oh, we got some rain. Not rain, it's a warm day out. The snow's melting right through the light fixture into the tarp. But every store in here, I think, has changed names or tenants at least 3 or 4 times. Oh, GS Furniture's here. They're still operating. Well, they got to close out now. They got to move, but they still got the doors open. This is GS Furniture, and here they're still in business for today anyway. But they've been working on moving their stuff out and packing up. They have a warehouse. They have another store in Winnipeg. So they have a warehouse in Portage. The guy was saying just stopped an employee, and they said they're just working on packing everything up and moving out. And as of today, this is what? Saturday. I think that's the 28th. You can still come in here and buy stuff. By the time this video is up, they'll be closed. But yeah, JS Furniture and more. They've been in Portage for a very long time. And I'm pretty sure this used to be the Radio Shack. So this is one of the places where I used to also work in this mall. I had a lot of family that did work in this mall at different times. Everyone did. It was kind of like, I would say like 85% of the shopping in the city of Portage all happened in this mall at one point. Like downtown was kind of like there wasn't really much there at all, but this was where everything was. And this is before we had any kind of box stores or strip stores kind of come to town. The carpet's a giveaway. It's that Radio Shack blue carpet. Just a couple of the doors down from Radio Shack, I think it was this spot here. This was like a record store, Top 40 Records. And they, you sold CDs. Back then it was still cassettes were out. They sell shirts and posters, band merch, that kind of thing too. But yeah, this is another, I kind of had my routine for what I was interested in when I was a kid. If mom was shopping groceries, I'd hit up the toy store, you'd hit up San Francisco Gift, see what was there. You hit up Radio Shack, you go see what they had in the music store for music and stuff like that. And then at the far end, which is now just a wall, this used to go into the department store that was on the other side of the mall. This is the other big anchor tenant. And they walled this in, but it used to be you could walk through here right into this store, and it was called Woolco. Like wool, like what's on sheep, Co. It was just a department store. And when Walmarts came to Canada, they bought out somehow, I don't know exactly what the details were, but they bought the Woolco locations. And they were operating out of this mall in Portage for a few years before they built their own standalone box store. Got the little skylights with the trees everywhere. These are real trees as far as I know. These are actual, like that's a real tree. Oh, now I knocked the leaf off. Yeah, that's real trees. This, I believe, was a bookstore. This was Kohl's bookstore for a long time. This one at the end, I don't remember what was ever there. I know I had something at one point, but I don't remember. This one on the corner, this old corner office thing, this at one time was the Copper Kettle, and I kind of forget what they sold. I think they sold some clothing, but they also had like some sort of knick-knack household stuff too, I think. I'll walk back down that way and see what's there. On the corner here in this, right over there, that was a pizza joint. And at one time in Portage, I want to go out on a limb and say this was like the only pizza joint in Portage at one point. Now there's like 48 of them, I think, but back then it wasn't Boston Pizza. It was their logo was a Leaning Tower of Pisa, and I forget what the name of the business is. But this was like the only pizza restaurant I think that existed back then. Because when I was a kid, like in the 80s, pizza was actually not super common around here yet. Pizza Hut was the other restaurant that did open shortly after, but I think these guys were first. Pizza Hut was just across the parking lot, kind of just out there. But that one and this one. Across the way, this little store here, if you go look outside, they used to, I don't know if they still do. No, they took them out. They used to have round windows in that one too, I think. Maybe not, maybe I'm wrong. But this one used to be an arcade. Later on, it became an M&M Meat Shops, but this was Long John Silver's arcade. And this was the last place we would come in our little trek through the mall, put a few quarters in, play WrestleFest or Street Fighter 2. As malls go, this one isn't like super large. But for its time, when I was a kid, you remember everything looked bigger than what it actually was when you were a kid. But I thought this was like pretty big place, pretty significant. By today's standards, there's only one level. Like the ceilings don't even look that high. It's kind of stumpy looking compared to what they have now. I think this is an old hair salon, obviously last time, but I think this used to be a photo development place. back in the day where you had to take your film in to get photos developed, this was the place one of the places you'd bring it. It was it Don's Photo? And it may have later been a Suitors, but I think Don's Photo was what it was, because it was kind of right across from Radio Shack here. But yeah, you'd have to drop off your film. And then they invented digital cameras, and then that kind of all went away. I remember one time working, and it was actually my day off, the day it happened, but we had a real good downpour of rain, and one of the downspouts off the roof of the mall it either came apart or was plugged or something, and instead of going out the wall, because all the pipes, I guess they came down off the roof inside the back wall, instead of going out, turning the corner and going out into the parking lot, the pipe came apart inside the wall, and all these stores on this side all started getting flooded, and it was just nasty, and the water was all the way out into the aisle here. And they had to, we had a bunch of stuff that got wrecked. Anything that was like sitting on the floor, like in the back stockroom, you'd have cardboard boxes piled up on the floor. Some was up on shelves, so some was on the floor. All those boxes just soaked up the water, they got wrecked. We had to sell a bunch of stuff at a discount, but what a mess to clean up, man. It was a lot of work. I was off the day it happened, the day they came into it, but I was working the next day. I think it took us about 3 days to sort of clean the place enough where we were good to open again, and it wrecked a bunch of stuff. What a mess. I remember one time, we had done everything we could. We're just waiting for the fans to kind of dry out the carpet a bit. And we went across the way, this little tunnel here. This went back, I think, into like Smitty's lounge somehow. I think now there's just like a bunch of stuff stored in here. But this little hallway would go around to, like, they had a little Smitty's lounge back there somehow. I could be wrong on that. I could be remembering this incorrectly. But I remember we went and we played pool while we waited for the carpets to dry, because there's just nothing you could do. The whole mall was basically just shut down. And we still had people walking in and demanding that they let us into the store, and because they wanted to buy a battery or something dumb. It's like, really? You can't see the apocalypse that's happening? So that's what's left of the Portage Mall, and in a few days there won't be much left. I think the insurance company that's in there now, and the real estate, I don't even know if the real estate guys are still there, but the insurance company's there, the insurance broker. Their sign said they're still open until the 31st. So they might be around. So I'm guessing these doors will be open for a little bit. But there's a little bike shop that's in here. They're all moving their stuff out. There's a bunch of other people in here. You got some moving trucks coming and going as I was here, moving stuff out. I was talking to a few people in the mall there when I was leaving, and they kind of all had their thoughts on what was happening. I don't think anyone really knows for sure. I think it's for sale is a general consensus, and that there may be parties involved, but what they're going to actually do with it, who knows? Well, time will tell. But the parking lot is all part of the mall property, and one of the tenants is a Tim Hortons that's on that far end of the property. So as far as anyone knows, that won't change. They're an independent store. They're not going to move. They're not going to be in the way of anything, even if they do decide to tear this down. Rona, I'm told, staying put. Nothing changing with Rona. And the rumor is at the other corner of this parking lot, eventually they're going to build a Wendy's. That's the rumor. But that's been floating around for a couple years now, and nothing's happened yet. So this is the back side of the mall. This is where all the individual stores had the doors to go in. So Rona sort of took over that whole chunk of parking lot. This all used to be open. You could drive right around the whole mall if you wanted to. Now they have it sort of fenced off. That kind of became their lumberyard. Here are the individual doors to the stores. So the guys that are on the north side, on the back side of here, you know, you could take deliveries out the back door, just park the truck right here, unload straight into your stock room. It was kind of nice. Also, this side of the mall is the only side that had plumbing, which is also why I think Radio Shack and all the stores along here flooded that one day. But anyways, the only ones that had washrooms in the back were any of the stores along here. If you had a store on the south side facing the parking lot, no plumbing, no washrooms, no nothing. So if you had to use the washroom, or you had to have your staff, they had to like go and use the washrooms at the food court. But here's this like drain. See how they're inside the wall? This is coming from the roof, but they come down inside the wall. There's some on the very top there too, but that's the kind of pipe that burst apart and kind of flooded everyone out that one time. Well, thanks for watching. If you like this video, hit a like, hit subscribe if you have not already, or leave a comment below. You ever work here back in the day? Do you work here now? Do you remember this place at all? Do you wonder why it lasted this long? These are questions that keep no one up at night. But anyways, I do appreciate you watching, especially if you watch this far into the thing. Okay, we'll see you in the new year. Happy New Year, everyone. I'm not going to probably get another video before the new year, but I'll be back in 2025. Okay, have a good new year. Bye.